This is the Red Bull Rant podcast. If you aren't expecting adult language, why even bother listening?
This episode of the Red Bull Rant is brought to you by the fine people that support us through patreon.com/Red Bull Rant. Head on over there to support us and get exclusive content when we fucking feel like it. We want to send a special thanks to Chris Adamick, the Maeve Dartinez, Pierre, Eddie Delecto, and Jeremiah Dempster. As always, thanks, guys.
Welcome, my friends, to the show of friends. This is the Red Bull Rant podcast. I'm your host, Jason Iapicco.
I'm Truman. We're back because we're gluttons for punishment, and this is episode 449. What's old is new again, or what's new is old again.
Yeah. Basically, nothing ever changes.
Except for, so far, Skype hasn't crashed yet. But give it time.
True. You know, I just realized when I was putting the agenda together that we're going to hit the milestone on the next episode of 450.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, is 450 really going to be like our season preview episode? Because, listen, like, there's not a lot has really happened during the preseason. There's been matches, but none of them's been televised. I don't think any of the last three are going to be either. So there's not really much to talk about. So most likely it's a season preview show in like 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's just a really weird coincidence that that's going to be number 450.
It's almost like we planned it. We didn't, by the way, but it's almost like we planned it.
No. All right. So let's get into this and talk about the offseason so far. So before we list what's actually happened, do you want to read out the tweets that we got today?
Yep, because we just posted that, if anyone has any thoughts. And, of course, our friend Eddie. Eddie, I can't wait to see you this season, buddy. I am definitely coming down for a game or two. So we'll definitely have to tailgate again. But, hey, first one checking in here says, preseason expectation, maybe two new guys, preseason reality, soccer break is over, ready to be annoyed and angry drunk calling about how disappointing this team will be again. And the faux hype around a contract off letting favor for Leipzig and then RB2 retreads. I hope I'm not wrong.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Again, here you go. Next tweet. At MarkDB, Mark USA fan, Red Bull ownership asleep at the wheel. And then our friend Ed Ritter pretty much just posting a gif of saying not good enough. I mean, what did they do? Really, one guy. In the scheme of things, one guy. That's what they did.
Yeah. One so guy. real quick, this is we'll go in terms of we'll talk players first. I wasn't going to, but we will. So players that are gone, and I'm only going to talk notable ones. Laquinhas, gone, sold to Brazilian team, undisclosed fee. Honestly, for him, probably the best move because what the fuck was he going to do on this team?
Right.
Tom Barlow traded away to Chicago for $300 in general allocation money.
And then scored a goal against us in the preseason, which is just fun because who gives a fuck?
Yeah. Now, if he does it in the regular season, of course he will.
Right.
Drew Yearwood traded away to Nashville SC for $75,000 in allocation money. I get kind of why we got rid of him, but not really. I mean, he had his moments.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then the only other big name that I can really talk about is Omir Fernandez, out of contract and never signed him, and now he's with Colorado. So
bless his soul with the Rapids.
Yeah. Players that we brought in. So, by the way, there are a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 players that are gone, 4 players that are coming in. So our squad is 5 players less deep than last year, at least according to Wikipedia. I don't know. There's probably homegrown signings and shit that we haven't announced or whatever.
Yeah.
In the MLS draft, we picked up a defenseman, Aiden O'Connor, I guess. Homegrown signing Roland Mitchell from Red Bulls 2 as a forward.
Ooh.
No idea. No idea if he's good or not. Signed from Swedish player Noah Eile. So I'm guessing that's right. Signed from Malmo FF for an undisclosed fee. And then the biggest transfer of the year for the Red Bulls, signing Emil Forsberg from Red Bull Leipzig for an undisclosed fee.
Keep it in the family.
Yeah. Although, in fairness, it is nice to see that transaction actually happen in the other direction for once.
Yeah. So I saw Steve Cangelosi on Twitter. Someone asked him about what's a good comparison, and they said for hockey fans, and his description was Patrick Elias at 31 years old. So like Patrick Elias in his prime. I'm hoping that's exactly what we get, because that's what this team needs.
Well, I don't know if you saw the tweet. I forget one of the preseason matches. He hit the
Insano goal.
Yeah, from like 10 yards past.
Oh yeah, that was
halfway.
fucking ridiculous. I mean, that was impressive no matter who you're playing against
and
or when you're
he
playing.
He wasn't even really trying to look like from that angle. Like he's just like, oh, hey, let me try this and maybe it'll work out.
That was sick. That was really sick.
Now, if he does that in an actual match, then
right, even better. But that was pretty awesome. So you're hoping he has a nice healthy season, right? And you get plays like that.
All right, and leading the Red Bulls this year, our new manager, Sandro Schwartz. If you don't know who he is, that's fine. He's notable for his last job being with Hertha Berlin, being let go in April 2023, and the team was relegated to the second Bundesliga. So, a convenient fact, by the way, that the New York Red Bulls website leaves off in his profile.
Yeah,
he was there, just left off the relegation part.
Right.
Another front office addition. The Red Bulls announced a new sporting director. I think this was like last week. Julian de Guzman. Now, you may be asking yourself, sporting director, how are they signing players? Well, they have another position called head of sport. And the head of sport is somehow in charge of the sporting director. How that works, yeah, it's weird. But for anybody, so this is the sporting director is basically Hamlet's old position. Yeah. Which is, the way I view it, is really just assistant GM. Because I feel like that's the easiest way to explain it. Which, quick side note. So, I didn't really make this public on Twitter. People know I was there. I was in England about a month ago. I went there to check out, to catch an Everton game because I wasn't sure when Goodison Park was closing down. Had about a 45-minute conversation with the hotel night manager one night about soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, and he was asking about surprisingly, he was asking about MLS, but I think because of Messi is why he was asking.
Oh, sure.
But having to skirt around MLS rules and be like, yeah, Messi kind of got paid under the table by Adidas and Apple, and that's how we made this work. Like, having to try to explain that shit to fans of teams in other countries is just, I mean, I knew it was a weird thing. It's just the first time having to do it just illustrated how weird our fucking rules are. in the
Buddy,
U.S.
don't ask me to explain it because I can't even explain it because we don't even understand it because they change the rules pretty much every 3 months.
I think I pretty much said, like, there's basically a salary cap for everybody but 3 players, and at that point, I say, and that's the easiest way I can explain it.
Or whatever team they want to fit their narrative.
I didn't even go into the fact that all the contracts are technically held by the league, not the teams, and all this other shit. Like,
yeah,
I wasn't going there.
Insane. Yeah.
If you're an Everton fan for whatever reason, God bless you, because we just love pain.
Yeah, it's getting rocky.
I mean, between Everton, the Red Bulls, and the Jets, like.
I think I told you, I think before our last episode, I still have a feeling that they'll stay up. There's just those teams that are just like, there's teams that are built to get relegated. And there's teams that they're just gonna stick around. And I'm telling you, as a Liverpool fan, I think they're staying up. I think they're gonna find a way. They're gonna sneak in a couple wins towards the last month and they'll stay up.
I'm sure they will. I mean, if it wasn't for the fucking 10-point deduction, we wouldn't even be having that.
Right. They'd
be
conversation. Free and clear. Right.
They'd be 12th right now.
Right.
Okay. Side note to the side note. They got another possible penalty coming. I hate that the Premier League is going to try to penalize for Everton for the same exact thing for twice. Like, they're trying to say, all right, window 1 was like 2019 to like 2022 or whatever, and then they're going to shift the window 1 year and penalize us again for the stadium, which they changed rules on us in the fucking middle of it anyway. Like, not getting into all of it, but it's just insane. All right, back to the Red Bulls.
Right. Anyway,
actually, sorry, I had to finish the side note. If you are an Everton fan and you can do it, I really suggest to go visit Goodison before it shuts down. It's a great game day experience. All right, now back to the Red Bulls. So, yeah, not a lot of movement on the player front. Don't know how this team is going to actually do. The one thing that I can say is that technically we've done well in the preseason so far. 4 matches played, 4 official preseason matches played, 3 wins, 1 draw. So that seems to be a good sign. Although he talks to the Ravens about undefeated preseasons and see how they feel.
That's the Detroit Lions fans.
Yeah. Well, the Ravens are like undefeated for like 7 years now in the preseason or something like that. And every time I watch a preseason game, my wife, it's like, yeah, that's great, but really, if you guys aren't winning.
And then you throw interceptions in the triple coverage in the end zone and cost yourself a game.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Red Bulls had a 6-0 win over the Florida Gulf Coast Eagles, which
powerhouse club.
More like a college, but sure. It's a college. Then they beat the Revolution 3-0. Tied Chicago 2-2, as Truman was saying. Barlow scored a goal in that one. I think that might be the one actually where Emil Forsberg had the.
I think it was the super goal, the crazy goal.
Yeah, that one because that was the end of January. I remember it being recent. And then we beat Hartford Athletic 1-0. It seems like the homegrown Mitchell is at least scoring some goals, so maybe it'll work out. Van Zier had a goal in one of the matches. Imagine that. Elias Manuel had a few. I think it looks like he has 3 so far.
Yep.
This preseason. So
because I think he had 2 in a game, I believe.
He had 2. No, he had 1 in 3 matches.
Oh, okay.
1 each in 3 matches.
Oh, fuck up. What do I know?
Van Zier had 2 in 1 game. And that was the 6-0 win.
I knew someone had like 2 in a game.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Sofo. I don't even know who this guy is. Mohamed Sofo. Oh, he's playing for the Red Bulls too. Okay. So that's why he's just playing up for now. They have 3 more preseason matches to go. They're in the Coachella Valley Invitational Tournament, which, for whatever reason, is not broadcast. Which, by the way, do you find it weird that, like, 8 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, like, you could watch almost every preseason match. Granted, it was always, like, some weird stream where it was, like, one camera angle, but there was at least something. And now there's, like, nothing at all.
And there's better technology and easier ways to record games.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, like way easier ways to record games. Literally, so they could have someone on the team just hold up their cell phone.
Yeah, I don't understand why we went back to not showing preseason games.
Just log on to the Red Bull Twitch account and watch the live stream.
I mean, you've had the fucking MLS season pass. Why not throw them on there, right? Like, people are already paying for it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so three matches in the Coachella Valley Invitational. They'll take on St. Louis, St. Louis City, Austin FC, and the LA Galaxy before their first match of the year, which will be on the road February 25th at Nashville. Obviously, we can't get into that game because we're still like a month away. So,
yeah.
Thoughts on what has been a pretty quiet preseason for the Red Bulls?
I mean, it's really just player moves, right? They signed one guy who I think will bring a lot to the team. I really do. Everything you read and hear about this guy is a big positive, but that's it. I mean, like everyone was saying on Twitter, it's just, hey, we're going to make changes. Hey, we know we have to improve this team. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, we brought in a coach no one heard about. Sporting director no one really cares about. And one guy. Like, that's what they did. You know, and we won't talk too much about it because, I mean, obviously we want to talk about it when we actually do the season preview. You just hope everyone stays healthy, and you hope guys live up to their potential. You hope Lewis Morgan is healthy. Like, there are guys on this team, but I don't know. You see all these other teams making a bunch of moves, and we made really one. And then the fans just shake their head again and go, "Here we go again." What's there to get excited about? What's the reason to fill Red Bull Arena? Because they haven't given anyone yet.
I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year, Gotham FC is drawing more fans than the Red Bulls at Red Bull Arena.
It depends on how they play.
They're building a fucking super team on that side.
Yes, they are. That they are doing. My God, they are loading up.
It's like one good season. It's like all of a sudden, holy shit, who can we get over here?
Just fucking go for it, right?
You know, just because I don't know all the names they brought in. Let's find out. It's gotta be a way to see the specific teams, right? All right, hold on. Let me just look at the current staff or current roster because that'll make more sense. Let's see. The names that I know that they brought in. I think Kelly O'Hara was a recent one. Ali Long. I think Crystal Dunn was already with them. Actually, no, I think all these players are new. Let's see. Rose Lavelle. I mean, come on. That's a huge name in women's soccer. I think Ella Stevens was a pretty big name. There's like 5 new players on this roster, it looks like. So, I mean, they're loading up. One good year and like, fuck this. Let's go all in and make it a twofer.
Right. Well, I mean, go for it. You win the championship. You're building off a championship season. You want to put more butts in seats. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Red Bulls, take notes. If you want butts in seats, you bring in players.
You know, the expression exists for a reason. Sometimes you have to spend money to make money.
Right.
All right. So really, there's not much else to talk about right now for the Red Bulls preseason. Actually, I'm sorry. I wanted to mention this. The one good thing about the Forsberg transfer, at least in my opinion, is what is one thing that we both have said this team has needed in terms of transfers?
Well, it's that attacking midfielder, right?
I'm not even going there. A veteran presence.
Yes, well, that's it.
That can help the young players grow.
Yeah.
right? He hasn't. I don't think he ever won a Bundesliga title, but Red Bull with him there, I believe, won whatever the German equivalent of the FA Cup is.
Mm-hmm.
That he's been in the Champions League, so he's bringing this experience to the team where he can pass off some of that knowledge of playing in big pressure situations, like how to handle things. And like that's something we've said has been needed, right? You can't just have the coaching staff do it. You need to have an active player be a veteran presence. I mean, I don't think he's going to be named team captain, right? There's no way that Nealis loses the captainship, but
but you never know. I mean, I don't think so either. But
you still need the leader. You still need somebody with experience in the locker room. So
right,
at least from that perspective, I think it's a good transfer. Now, can he actually produce on the field? That we definitely need to see.
Right. Well, we wanted the guy that's going to get the forwards the ball.
Yeah. Hopefully that's him.
Right.
All right. It is time for the first F1 update of the year.
And box now, box for hard. Stay out. Fuck! Why? Tire.
That'll never get old.
No, and we're not even close to the start of the season yet because the season doesn't kick off until February 29th. So,
but I mean, holy fuck! Let's there's.
And this is all like the last week or two, right?
Yeah. So let's start with number one. So number one is AlphaTauri changing their name. That was I believe the first thing that happened. Well, Alfa Romeo, I believe, was the first official one, right? Because now they're the stake F1 team, Kick Sauber, Kick Saber, with their black and green cars.
Yeah, that one was December.
Car, right, that was the first move, and then it's AlphaTauri changing their name to Visa RB. Visa Racing Bulls Cash App, or Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, I believe is the actual name. Visa Cash App Racing Bulls.
Visa RB Cash App F1 team.
That's a lot. It is the dumbest.
I'm sorry. Formula One team, not F1 team. I'm sorry. I didn't get it exactly right.
Woof.
Yeah, but that's AlphaTauri's name. And we knew AlphaTauri was going away. They told us that at the end of last year. So
Right. But still.
Jesus, yeah.
Silly. That is a silly name.
Why not just end it at Visa Red Bull and be done with it?
Right. Nope. Had to be that old Cash App.
I'm sorry. They couldn't have two Red Bulls. That's why.
I wish I could bring up the text message I had with my daughter when I sent her that, and I just I blew her mind. Like she couldn't believe it. So actually, I'm gonna find this because it was the funniest thing in the world.
All right. While you're looking, I'm gonna tell. So Alfa Romeo was another team that changed their name, and they went. And part of this is because you can't have a gambling sponsor be the main name for a team. It is a stake F1 team, Kick Sauber. So you have a car manufacturer, a gambling website, and Kick, which is a streaming website, all have their names on the team.
Amazing.
Yeah. So did you find the message?
Oh, yeah, I did. Now, many of you are not going to get what I'm about to say. Because I'm not going to tell you what it's from. Jay, I will tell you after the show what it's from if you don't know what it's from. But I laughed so hard. So I did send her. I sent a message to say AlphaTauri F1 is changing their name. Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, not a joke. So then she texted me this. I laughed so hard. She said, 2 queens stand before me. Visa Cash App Racing Bulls. Shantae, you stay. AlphaTauri, sashay away. And then she said, AlphaTauri, this week you were less alpha and more beta on the raceway. I howled. Do you know what that's from?
Isn't that like the old school Project Runway? Or not Project Runway. Whatever the model, America's Next Top Model or something like that.
You're close, but you're not quite there.
Okay. So is it the RuPaul Drag Race then?
Yes, it is. It's RuPaul's Drag Race. That's exactly.
I thought it might have been. But I thought it was like the Next Top Model first. So
yeah.
Okay.
No, she sent me that and I laughed so hard. Like I was crying. Like I had to read it to my wife because it was so funny. So yeah, so there you go.
And that's not even the biggest news yet. We've only talked about two things.
No, so that's just name changes. That's all we've gotten to so far. The biggest news in Formula One is that first it was the rumor in the morning that ESPN was reporting that Lewis Hamilton was leaving Mercedes to go to Ferrari, and I was like, holy fuck, there's no way. But if ESPN's saying there's a rumor, that's pretty strong. And I believe I messaged you, and 20 minutes later, it was on Formula One's Instagram page, official. By the time I saw the message, I just asked, "Is it official?" Because I had saw a headline and I didn't know. But yeah, huge. I mean, absolutely insane. And then that means Carlos Sainz, he's gone. Now, right here's the big thing: is where's Checo has this year on his contract, right? So he could move. Obviously, George Russell is going to be the guy at Mercedes. I believe that's the way they were kind of going. That's usually the way this works anyway. Right now, he's going to be the man. He was kind of already becoming the man last season on that team, and I'm sure that helped with Lewis Hamilton's decision to move on. So there's going to be. It's not just changes on like the second division teams where you see a lot of those moves. These are the two of the biggest teams, and possibly next year 3 big teams,
which will probably cascade down to lower teams anyway, because somebody's going to move up,
right? Unless you just see Carlos Sainz go to Mercedes, and then Checo stays with Red Bull. Who knows? But it depends on how he performs, this year. And it was funny because I was talking online how we kind of poo-pooed Checo's season last year, but he finished second. But he had these weird, how many times he was not even finishing races or, not finishing qualifying. And there was a million things right in that middle chunk of the season.
Yeah.
Because he built up such a lead in second place that he was able to hold it and then kind of finish strong. So I think he needs to have a really strong year this year and finish second again.
Well, I mean, him and Max just traded off wins to start the season. So
yeah.
We're both so far out.
Yep. So it's going to be all the talk of the season. This is like Michael Jordan saying I'm retiring in game 1 of his last year. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's going to be the talk. It's going to be absolutely everywhere. This is all everyone's going to talk about. They're going to talk about the cars, of course, because was your decision because Mercedes isn't making the best car? Because if you remember the first race of last year, he already said he was not excited about that car and that they had messed it up, and they proved it because they did mess it up. But fucking huge news. And Drive to Survive's coming out in a few weeks.
Yeah. Before we get to the biggest Red Bull impact, I forgot about this, but since I was on the F1 website, I don't know if you saw, they're changing the format for the sprint race weekends. And I think the format's going to really screw shit up at some point. So, for those that don't follow F1, don't remember what we're talking about. So, normal race weekend, you have 2 practice sessions on Friday, a practice session on Saturday, followed by a qualifying session, and then the big race on Sunday. In a sprint weekend, it was 2 practice sessions on Saturday. 1 practice session Saturday, Grand Prix qualifying Friday. On Saturday, it was sprint race, which is basically half a race.
Yeah.
And then the Grand Prix on Sunday. What they're going to do next year for the sprint races, or this year, is free practice Friday, followed by sprint qualifying on Friday. So the second session Friday is not sprint qualifying. Saturday morning or whatever, the first one Saturday is going to be the actual sprint race, followed by Grand Prix qualifying.
Really weird way to do things.
Which, imagine if somebody's going for something in the sprint and crashes, and now they can't qualify because they can't be in qualifying because their car's wrecked and they can't get it fixed in time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a weird thing. And then apparently they're going to start activating DRS sooner.
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
It's a one-liner at the bottom of this. Oh yeah, we're just gonna have it activate one lap after the start of the race instead of two.
Yeah.
Like, oh, just
Fuck
yeah.
it. Let's just start the madness immediately.
Might as well.
Yeah.
All right, so you got to talk about this last thing because I don't know enough about what's going on with this.
Well, there
It's
hasn't
for
been a
Red
lot
Bull
of.
team.
So Christian Horner, right? Red Bull is doing an investigation on Christian Horner for some kind of misappropriate actions towards a member of the Red Bull team.
So
That's
Christian
what we
Horner,
know.
Christian Horner, by the way, is basically the president of the team. He's the guy in charge of the whole Red Bulls team.
He's the team principal or whatever you want to
Or
call him,
principal.
right?
I
He's
forgot
like
what they call the principal.
he's like the head coach. That's the best way to describe it. He's like the head coach of the team. So that's what we know. So Red Bull is investigating themselves. He, of course, has vehemently denied he's done anything wrong. That's all we know. I mean, if Red Bull finds evidence, concludes that he did something, then that's a massive shakeup with this team. Massive, because he's been a huge part of why Red Bull's been winning.
Well, he basically is the reason they came back after that. Like, he brought him back during the Hamilton era, right?
Yeah. Some things don't change, by the way. The cat on my shoulder again, of course. That hasn't changed.
You guys can't see it obviously, but the one winning angel's back and just made an appearance on the show because I could hear that head rub through the mic. So
yeah.
All right. With that, it's now time for the dumping grounds.
I'm the trash man.
All right. So big news. 2026 World Cup. Venues for specific matches have been announced. The big one is that the World Cup final will be hosted at MetLife Stadium in 2026.
Hell yeah. In Jersey. Usually I don't say this because I'm also wearing a shirt with the big New York Giants logo on it. This is jerseys. Listen, New York, take a back seat. We got this.
Well, we may be taking a back seat because the other thing I have in the notes here is I saw something today from Mike Florio that basically any NFL stadium that has a branding on it that does not line up with FIFA's marketing cannot use that branding during the tournament. So
they literally can't use the name of a stadium.
So MetLife Stadium would be referred to as New York, New Jersey Stadium. And he even suggested that the MetLife sign on the outside might have to be taken down.
They'll never do that. There's no way. That thing is on there. They would never. Never.
They probably just cover it up or something.
Yeah, I don't even think they would do that. There's just no way. FIFA can fucking suck it when it comes to that. And I am not a fan of corporate naming rights on stadiums, but you know what? It's on there. Deal with it.
The stadium should just been called the Meadowlands 2 or something and be done with it.
Or we just call it the Tony Meola Stadium.
I'm fine with
I'm
that.
okay with that, right? They named the Turnpike and the Parkway rest stops after all these famous Jersey people. Let's just call it Tony Meola Stadium.
Can we work Tim Howard in there too somehow? Both Jersey guys, both goalkeepers.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Tim Howard Field at Tony Meola Stadium.
Oh, okay. All right. I can do that. I can. That's a good compromise. I'm all right with that.
I mean, they do it all the time. It's Orioles Park at Camden Yards.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, I think I saw basically almost every city except for Philadelphia gets a round of 32 matchup. Philly gets a round of 16. I don't know who gets what in the group stage. The U.S. for whatever reason was broadcast that all their games are going to be on the West Coast, including a game in Seattle, which honestly I think would be pretty awesome because I know that they'll pack that stadium full of U.S. fans.
Mm-hmm.
Mexico is going to be staying in Mexico. Canada staying in Canada for their group stage games. So I don't know what we would get on the East Coast, but
I hope like Brazil. I want them in Foxborough.
Argentina.
Yeah, I'd rather have. I have a bunch of Brazilian friends who I used to work with, so that's why I wanted to be at Foxborough, so I can go with those guys and just have a great time, immerse myself. I'll wear the yellow jersey. I don't care. I just need to go to a game. Foxborough's hosting 7 games, 5 group stage games, a round of 32, which is, of course, the most insane thing I've said about a World Cup in a long time. Round of 32 and a quarterfinal. Round of 32.
How'd you
Round
find out
of
who's hosting?
415.
How'd you find out how many games exactly was being hosted?
Oh, because I mean, it was all over the news for the local news talking about what, how many games they were getting.
Oh, okay.
How many teams are in this tournament? 568? I can't remember.
Are there even that many countries?
I don't know. I think they've invited everybody at this point.
I mean, I think at some point they're just going to go full March Madness and go to 60. What is there? To 68 now or something like that?
Yeah. You know what's weird, and what I thought was really weird about the announcement. So, right, the U.S. is playing 2 games in L.A., 1 in Seattle, because they said the reasoning, which makes sense, is like they want to have the U.S. have a camp, in one spot, so they're not doing a lot of long distance travel. They're trying to keep all the teams like kind of in like these general vicinities. I totally understand it. Canada is playing 2 games in Toronto, 1 in Vancouver. So explain that one.
They're playing where? 2 in
Toronto, 1 in Vancouver. But the U.S. can't go to like.
So they're doing
like,
Toronto. So I'm looking at it. The Canadian team will play in Toronto on the 12th of June, and then play in Vancouver on the 18th and 24th. So they're only traveling once.
All right, but they're still going. All right, so they're still going. They're still making cross country trips. I mean, even if it's just one cross country trip.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so they're traveling across all of Canada.
Yeah, but only
the
they
US
travel once across.
Right, the U.S. can't play a game in. I don't like St. Louis or like Midwest or it's not a crazy flight.
Or if you're going to keep them out there, right? They're still San Francisco.
Yeah, that's true.
If you want to say keep on the West, they have San Francisco.
Yeah.
The quote central region would have the closest one would be, I guess, Kansas City, because it's Kansas City, Houston, or Dallas.
Yep.
So
yeah.
But I mean, the U.S. has to travel twice, which doesn't really make sense. If you're going to keep them there, why not just do the same exact thing and just? I guess because of how the match days line up, that's why they do it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Mexico will play Mexico City, travel to Guadalajara, then back to Mexico City for their 3 group stage games.
So nothing crazy for them. That's no big, huge trip. So
yeah. Let's see. Philadelphia gets 5 group stage games and 1 round of 16, which is Saturday, July 4th. So if things work out correctly, we could have the U.S. in Philadelphia on July 4th. I mean, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely going to have to see what I can make for the Philadelphia. Let's see. There's a Sunday game. That's a Friday. That's a Monday. That one probably won't happen. Thursday and then a Saturday. So there's a few games I might be able to make. Hopefully I win some tickets in the lottery.
Yeah. Listen, I'll put my money aside just to go to one game. I don't care who's playing. I don't care what country it is. It would be cool if it was Brazil or, someone fun to watch. But I really don't. I just want to experience it, right? You just want to be in the atmosphere. It's been since 1994 when I was still in high school, and I definitely didn't make it to any of those games.
Yeah, I said to my wife, like, I don't care who plays. Like, just to be able to say I went to a World Cup game. That's really what it's about.
Yeah.
Now, if the U.S. if I get picked for the July 4th and the U.S. happens to show up, great. But I'm not going to sit there and hold that hope that it's going to be that. Now, do I try to get a ticket to MetLife with Pat? That's a different question.
Right. I just hope I go to a game and Gronk is there. Everyone's like, yo, Gronk, there you are, kid. Where's Welker? Where's Brady?
So, I mean, I'm looking at the calendar. I think they did the best to spread out the matches to make sure no one city got shafted in terms of games.
Oh, I'm sure.
Well, actually, that's not true. Guadalajara gets 4, so I think they're among the lowest.
I just like that
Actually-
Jerry Jones is very upset that he lost the final to the state of New Jersey.
Fuck him.
He's very salty about it, which I love.
Fuck him. That game should be played outdoors.
Yeah. Because people are like, oh, what if it's going to rain? It's fucking soccer. Yeah, you know
Who
what?
cares?
It might rain. They play every game in the rain if they have to. England does it almost every week.
Honestly, rain in the middle of July would probably be welcome.
Right. I mean, give me a break.
I mean, they're gonna play the third place game on July 18th in fucking Miami.
Right.
So,
No, people just
All
like
right.
to complain. It's not like complaining. It's not the fucking Super Bowl again. It's not going to snow the next day.
yeah. I mean, we're getting back to normal here with the Summer World Cup. So, come on.
Right. Thank God.
All right. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Oh, do you see? Actually, do you see the news about Messi getting booed over in China?
Oh,
For
you
not
know
playing?
what? Yeah, in Hong Kong. Yeah, I actually was going to mention that the government was pissed off, and then
I mean,
the other
wouldn't you be
stars
pissed
were on the
off
bench
too?
too. Yeah, I'd be pissed.
You pay Beckham to have his team come over and the star players don't play. I mean,
Yeah, I'd be pissed off. No one bought tickets to see the freaking Inter B team.
and then they got embarrassed on top of that too.
Yeah, well, that was the one game. No, that was the one game they won.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was okay.
They did. That was the first preseason game that they won. They lost like the first 4 preseason. Again, who gives a shit? But no, I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed that you didn't get time to see the biggest star on the planet play.
Yeah. And it's not like he's like injured to the point where he can't play at all. Like he's just they just sat him out.
Right.
Which, speaking of that, how pissed do you think the Red Bulls are right now for their schedule? Like the front office.
Super pissed. Well, the fans should be mad. Not the fans that not going to see Messi, but they just want to sell their tickets.
Well, hopefully those if you're gonna be one of those people that sell the tickets, hopefully you get it out there early enough that the people that buy don't realize he won't be there.
Right.
And then I saw something on Reddit. Someone's like, you should sell it early for like $1,000 or whatever, and then come in later when it's back down to 25 and just try to get back into the game. And the guy's like, yeah, I might try to do that.
Yeah, you already made your money back. You're all good.
You pay for your season tickets and then you still get to go anyway. I mean,
Yep.
So I got to talk about this. I mentioned before we started recording to you that I liked the way at least Everton, like I said, I don't know how everybody does it over in the UK, but at least Everton does their tickets. I did not mention resale. So Everton have their own ticket website, obviously, but including that is a resale platform. So they want everything to be resold on the same platform they buy tickets on. And to buy tickets on resale, you need to be a team member. So you can't just be general public.
Mm-hmm.
And they cap the ticket. So whatever you bought it for, right? So I think I told you it was £55 was like the general cost for an adult to go into that stadium.
Yeah.
If you resold it, it was resold for 55. You couldn't scalp the ticket, basically.
Right.
That obviously will never happen here, but
No, God, no. Oh, God, no.
but I like that methodology. The only downside was unless you had season tickets, it wasn't on sale until like 3 months before the game kicked off.
Mm-hmm.
And then they changed in October. They changed the date because of TV, so I had to readjust some plans, unfortunately.
But you still got to go and have a great time. So.
Yep, Liverpool and London, and I really want to go back.
Yeah.
And I wish we had public transportation like London because that shit was fucking easy to get around. I was serious.
No,
Our hotel was. We got lucky with the hotel place because it was right next to the Gloucester Road underground stop. So literally, we just walked across the street, and boom, we were already in the underground. We had two different lines at our disposal. Not to mention the buses that we could have accessed because there was a bus stop across the street as well.
Mm-hmm.
But like in London, I think the worst case we had was like maybe a 10-minute walk from an underground station to where we were going, and that was because we had to go across the river, and they had a walkway for going across the river. So,
yeah,
if you're an Everton fan, go. I try to go before Goodison's gone, and definitely do the stadium tour.
Oh yeah. If you're going over to see your favorite team, you have to do a stadium tour.
Yeah,
you have to.
Yeah. I don't think I showed you the video, but part of the stadium tour is they let you walk in the tunnel through the opening to the dugout, and they play for Everton. They play Z Cars with the siren before. A little bit of a goosebumps moment, honestly.
Oh yeah,
and
super cool.
And that field is fucking. Once you get to the sideline, I didn't realize how bad the slant was until I was literally standing on it. It's almost like a 30 to 45 degree angle, like drop off after when you get
on the edges, yeah,
because they want to drain the water off it, yeah.
And you don't really see it from TV.
No, you can't. Yeah, that was good. I want to go back. Anyway, anything else for Dumping Ground?
No, I think that's it. I think now we've covered everything.
Yeah. All right, we're going to wrap this one up. Patreon.com/Red Bull Rant, $1 a month gets you exclusive content such as, well, whatever we decide to do because we haven't been good doing monthly wrap-ups. So we'll figure something out. If you want to email us, redbullrant@gmail.com. If you want to call us, 973-348-5329. Leave us a voicemail. Get your voice played on the show. Facebook.com/Red Bull Rant. On Twitter, @Red Bull Rant for the show. At Dr. Stooge for myself, @The Truman for Truman. Subscribe to our show via iTunes, YouTube Music, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast. Last words before we get out of here.
I'm so excited to hate life again.
What, the Giants didn't keep up their end of the bargain in that respect?
No. And the way the Mets are looking, it's going to be a long summer.
All right. So for Truman and myself, this has been episode 449 of the Red Bull Rant. Thank you guys for tuning in. Guess have a good rest of the preseason.
Yeah, go preseason Red Bull.